If you love Asian food, or if you're Asian and if you're looking for healthy dishes that fit our palate, then this is the video for you. I've searched quite a bit before doing this video and I realized there are not a lot of Asian meal-specific meal prep videos. So today I'm going to show you how to make 4 dishes that are really heavy in protein, low in carbs, that you will absolutely love, that are perfect for fat loss and your muscle gains this year. We love our stir-fried noodle dishes, and pancit is something that's actually getting known worldwide. The issue when you're making pancit is if you are someone that's watching your weight and kind of want to reduce your carb intake, then yeah, definitely there are a lot of noodles in it. When you're looking at traditional dishes like this and you're trying to make it healthier, it's really important to look at the elements to which you can kind of reduce. So you want to be able to reduce your sodium so you don't put too much soy sauce or salt. You don't want too much carbs, then reduce the amount of rice or noodles that you add in stir fries, and just kind of bump up the number of vegetables that you put in so that your meal still feels and looks really full. So I'm gonna be doing that by adding tons of vegetables, carrots, celery, cabbage, onions, garlic, and we'll be adding a lot of chicken to the dish as well, way more than the traditional recipes would call for, and just a limited amount of noodles to really just make it feel like pancit, but just make it healthier. Cabbage is one of my favorite ingredients. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you'll see I use a lot of cabbage because it just adds so much volume to your dish without adding much calories to the bottom line. All of the dishes today are gonna be one-pan dishes too, so that just adds a level of convenience to everything. And I think all of them can be made within 20 to 30 minutes. Oil is something you wanna look at and make sure you're reducing. So here I'm using just half a tablespoon. Garlic, onions. To this, you can add some already pre-boiled chicken breasts if you have it. If you don't, you can use some raw chicken breasts and you would add it at this point. So I'm gonna be using 2 pieces, which is just a lot of good lean protein. Once your chicken's in, we can go ahead and add the rest of our vegetables except for the cabbage. So carrots and celery, basically anything that needs to be cooked down a little more. Give that all some color, and then we're gonna cover everything with some chicken broth. After 5 minutes, it's really quick. You can fish out all the ingredients. So this is where it gets interesting. A lot of times you'd add a lot of noodles. Here we're just gonna add just a small handful, because really the noodles are gonna be filled up by the cabbage. A little bit of seasoning. So this is about 2 portions. So we're just gonna be very careful with the seasoning. About 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. We can always add more if you want, but I like to control the level of sodium that I'm putting in there. Then we're gonna get a lot of cabbage, and it's obviously you'll see that your amount of quote-unquote noodles will just look like there's so much more in there. Make sure we mix in the noodles really well in there. And then to this, we can add in all the other veg. I mean, it tastes like Pancit Canton, really clean. The chicken's cut up into small bits, so if you're not a fan of chicken breast, at least here, it's manageable pieces. It stays nice and juicy because it's cooked in broth. And yes, you could add condiments like crispy onions and crispy garlic, but honestly, a lot of those things usually are cooked in tons of oil, and so it just adds an amount of calories that I might not be comfortable with if I'm looking to cut weight. Really good. Dak Galbi is probably one of my favorite Korean dishes because it's really simple to make. It's all in one pot and you can build lots of flavor. Getting a recipe like this and trying to make it healthier is a little tricky because a lot of the flavor comes from the marinade of the chicken, and it has things like gochujang, which has a lot of sodium. So I'm just gonna take it really easy in terms of how much I'm actually gonna add. So just 1 tablespoon of gochujang. I'm gonna make up for that with some gochugaru, red pepper flakes, a tiny bit of sugar. So we're doing 1 teaspoon here, lots of minced garlic, lots of minced ginger, and usually they add some sort of sweetened rice wine or rice vinegar. Here it's a bit of mirin, so again, 1 to 2 tablespoons for the marinade. Mix all that together into a paste. And then you wanna marinate your chicken at least 4 hours. You can even go overnight if you want to. And exact same thing as the pancit, we're gonna make sure we add a lot of chicken in there. So this makes it a really kind of heavy protein meal. Korean food in general is actually quite healthy. Like as long as you watch, you know, the proportions. A lot of the time healthy food is about kind of how much you add to what you're eating. So the portion is as important as the nutritional base or the calories that you're ingesting. And in Korean food, you just have to be careful with kind of like sauces and things like that. So something like sesame oil, for example, 1 drop is more than enough. But if you add, let's say, a whole tablespoon or a whole teaspoon to your dishes, that adds a lot of kind of quote unquote unnecessary calories. Very necessary for flavor, but not for your health. Got a pan, nice and hot. And what's cool here is you literally put all the ingredients together. A little bit of oil, 1 teaspoon. So I've got some potatoes. I have 1 potato. Carrots. I'm gonna chop up some cabbage. Cabbage goes in. Then they usually have a lot of rice cakes. I'm just gonna reduce the amount of rice cakes that I put in here. Your marinated chicken. So this is our switch out. That goes on top. Roll up some shiso leaves, stem them off, and then we're gonna add the shiso leaves on top also. That goes in here, and basically that's all gonna cook together. Obviously you don't want things to stick at the bottom of the pan, so from time to time kind of just mix things around. Oops, totally forgot the red onions. So Dak Galbi really just looks like a big glumpy mess, but that's why people love it. A lot of times you'll actually find cheese being speared on there, but we're watching our weight, so we won't do that. Kind of eat this like K-barbecue also. I've seen people do this. Shiso leaf, lettuce, put a bit of chicken, some cabbage, some of your vegetables in there, your rice cake. Wrap that and then eat it. Really tasty, fresh, and filling. Chicken larb is something Chef Martin pointedly said a while ago that I do a lot. I do, because I really like it. I think it's one of the best kind of like Thai or Lao or Cambodian dishes you can get. Very simple, toast some rice until it's nice and brown. We're gonna pulverize that with a mortar and pestle. Then that gets fried off with some chopped up chicken thighs, a bunch of chilies, some garlic, some onions, some brown sugar, some lemon juice, some scallions, usually some mint, but we don't have mint today. I'm just gonna use some shiso leaves because we used that a while ago and it's gonna be really delicious with the shiso leaves. And all that just gets tossed together and then it's put on a beautiful piece of lettuce. So it's really easy to do and it's really tasty. I'm gonna fry off a little bit of my garlic first because I'm not a fan of raw garlic. While that's kind of going, you can already add in your chicken. So this was hand chopped to get it nice and minced. Toasted rice goes back in. And then we're gonna go ahead with all our chilies and our onions, break it up as it goes in. Remember, we're not looking to cook this down too much. You want this to kind of retain its bite. Scallions, shiso leaves, a little bit of brown sugar, and some fish sauce to flavor it up. And for a lot of people, this part will seem weird, but you do add your lemon while it's cooking. Transfer. And usually when this is served, it's not really served hot. I think they leave it out for a while, but then you just put that on a piece of lettuce. Fiery, fresh, extremely lively in your mouth, and just filled with protein. Oyakodon is one of my favorite things in the world to eat in Japan, and it's actually really easy to make. We're gonna scale back on some of the ingredients to make sure that it stays nice and healthy. First thing we want to do is mix in kind of like all our wet ingredients. So we have some sugar, some soy sauce, some broth. I'm just going to put it all together. and some mirin. Chop our red onions. For our eggs, one of the cool things about Oyakodon is that you have different textures of eggs and different colors of eggs. So it's really important that you don't beat it. When you beat it, you kind of get an omelet, which is not what this dish is, right? So very simple, get a couple eggs, and all we're gonna do is kind of like break the eggs. Onions go into the cold pan. Cutting our chicken breast same size to make sure it cooks evenly. Chicken in. Rice wine, add the chicken to our onions, add in our sauce, wait for that to come to a bubble, and then make sure that your chicken's cooked through before we quickly add in our eggs. Our leeks are in. Now we're gonna go ahead and add in our eggs in 2 batches. First batch goes down, and we'll keep a little bit for the top later. We're just gonna let that set. Egg goes down, more scallions on top, and that for me is the most comforting. I really wanted to end with this because I want to show people that you can eat rice even if you're trying to lose weight or even if you're trying to kind of gain muscle. Well, gain muscle, rice is really important. It's one of those building blocks. The carbs are really, really good for you. But again, it comes to conscious decisions in your diet. I am really excited about this. This dish can get very decadent very quickly if you add too much sugar, too much soy sauce and all that. If you want to make this even healthier, switch out your white rice for some brown rice, switch out your brown rice for some adlai, switch out your adlai for some quinoa, whatever you want, it'll work. We use brown sugar, you can use coconut sugar. At the end of the day, always remember, nutrition is in your hands, especially when you're cooking at home.